One of our most recent books with Ian Glover was Best Desert and Savannah Tracks in Australia. And as part of the research for that, we discovered there were a lot of areas that were, shall we say, open for exploration by the four-wheel driving community, and as a result of that we decided to develop some tracks for people that in areas that at the moment there are no tracks. Looking forward to some pretty tough country over the next few weeks. Fear builds, but we've done the preparation and we've got the HF radio VKS 737 on the old Royal Flying Doctors network, which we call in every day. And we've got satellite telephones, and then between vehicle communications we use UHF radios.
We've done more off-road driving before I got my licence than most people have in the rest of their life. Grown to really like the desert, and the more isolated the better, or any outback areas at all. For the last few years I've had a hankering to straight line the Simpson Desert somewhere, and I finally found someone silly enough to come with me. Bit apprehensive about it because it could be 48 hours before the chopper even gets there if something goes wrong, and if something seriously goes wrong with the vehicle, that's virtually the end of that. It's not coming back, so you've got to be prepared to pay the money to do it too. Just going somewhere where no one's been before, well, no white man's ever been before. I don't know what's going to be out there, but I'm going to find out. That we're very sensitive to any cultural sites. That we stay right out of the way of them. If we find them, like record them, mark them on the GPS, and then get out of there and go around them and just tell them where they are.
I was not qualified to do the job I was doing, so I started work with my husband. He's a fencing contractor, and I do enjoy most days. We have 2 children, adult children, very independent, settled, good jobs, one getting married in October, so we're pretty pleased with both of them. I didn't want to miss out on it either. I really wanted to go and see what's out there and be there, and I've seen a little bit of some deserts, but once we got to Big Red, as soon as you went over that, it was just sand dunes after sand dunes after sand dunes. I thought we'd be a little bit more sort of driving flat.
After a lifetime of being at sea, and so this is quite a different activity to my normal experience. Know what to expect really, except the classic idea of sand dunes as in the Sahara, something like that, but seeing the Simpson Desert, and it is in full bloom, mind you, because there has been a kinder seasons just recently, but no, the ever rising like waves of sand dunes was incredible to behold. The days go by very quickly where we do have to move along in covering the ground we have to cover, but at the same time there has to be the vehicles to make sure they're running okay, the camps are set up, the meals to cook, and getting a good night's sleep. Of course, communications we have, the know-how that's with us in this team, and the well-prepared vehicles, we should go very well.
Should the worst possible thing happen and we don't survive and they make the movie, who do you want to play you in the movie?
Somebody tall and handsome. Could be, well, I've always thought Clint Eastwood was just terrific. He's my man.
Okay, so with the carpet down and laid under each wheel.
Have a crack now.
Well, that carpet here, we won't need that anymore.
The dunes tend to be as the French line and the other usually traverse lines used to be, where the eastern slope is much steeper than the western, which would basically make it impossible to do the beeline from the east. The swales in between are sandy, soft, but rock and roll. This is an historic moment. We are presently turning on to the beeline. We are now heading due east on the beeline, and exciting moment. We got up to 20 kilometres an hour there. We've come into this very rocky swale. Difficult to pick a line through it. We're swinging anything up to 20-30 degrees as we crisscross the beeline as we make our way across this boulder-strewn swale. Some of the dunes are a bit tricky. We get sort of quite complex tops where we get almost a double dune with a little dip in the middle, and then we drop over the other edge onto this area, and it looks like quite a good stand of acacia or oaks and possibly bloodwoods in this swale. But ever-changing landscape in terms of the vegetation and geomorphology. Some of these dunes are disconcertingly steep, and we drop over them with our hearts in our mouths, and then onto this very whoopy red mounds. Here we are going over the top of a dune, and Jackie's been out and sussed it out for us and is filming us as we come over. So it's whoopee! The dunes here quite close together, and again quite different vegetation. Still rock and roll. This is the location for Camp 1 on the B line. 240 to go. On the approach to yet another dune, and as the western side is again very much this moguls of sand, whipped into shape presumably by wind and rain, and very well vegetated, beautiful flower array, good grass stands. So you know, the rain from the last 9 months is really quite obvious, so we're tracking along okay. We've had both front shock absorbers fail, and so we're doing a workaround with gentle persuasion as part of the workaround process, whereby we'll take the shock absorber out and put a couple of rubber pieces of conveyor belt in as stoppers. So Heck's having a great time here. And oh, his shovel, he's got a shovel, he's alright. JB's comfortable. And Jackie is the site supervisor. One of the aspects of these sorts of processes is the art of innovation. Heck is one of the Australia's top fencing contractors, and you want innovation, he can do anything from bogan hitches to jack your bloody discs up and down and out. To this little patch of eucalypts and what appears almost to be a stream bed. So obviously the odd bit of water flows down here when it rains. This is the first flat clay-based swale with a few acacia trees on it, and we got up to 13 kilometres an hour. So many flowers in bloom at the moment is absolutely stunning. It's always changing. Got to take it very steady. Here we go. Whee! Woohoo! It's on the boundary of the area under the jurisdiction of the Aboriginal communities through the Central Lands Council. Welcome to country. We've got a nice little protected spot over here in the lee of this dune. On behalf of the Beeline Expedition team, we hereby name this site Camp James. Nail it in, James.
Nail her in. Well done. Oh, thank you very much.
Congratulations. Our camp number 2, which we named after John Barnett. Beautiful bit of scenery there. Oh my gosh, I see what he means about this dune. This is down there somewhere, JB.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go, there we go. Here we go, here we go. Whoa.
Going down.
Going down. Still getting these steep drop-offs on the eastern side of the dunes. We've been given special permission by the Central Lands Council to come through this area. Makes us very privileged and carries significant responsibility to make sure we do the right thing. We're bogged on the top of a dune. Put the diff lockers in and away we go. Most impressive. Break out the oars. This is where the Hale River ends as it disappears into the desert. Hence their name, ephemeral rivers. There are these spectacular, several of them, dunes, magnificent red. This one with a lone gum on it. We'll have to have a bit of a closer look at this one. A nice flat area here, and it's obviously been used by cattle to camp, and there's water been here fairly recently as well, and so it gives us an opportunity for a bit of a vehicle check over, and the point at which we leave the Aboriginal lands under the jurisdiction of the Central Lands Council. And really appreciate their giving us the permission and trust to traverse their land, and acknowledge that fully, and thank you very much, because we had to do a lot of dodging of rough country back there. Decision has been made to run south on the dune to get back on the beeline properly. Quite interesting to be able to track along the top of the dune in these beautiful little white bunches of flowers.
Camp 3, Camp Eden, and it's bloody freezing. Named after Len's youngest daughter.
After the last 4 days of travel, this is absolute luxury. Here we go. So here we are fantasizing about being out in the desert where no one has recorded being before. Geologists have been out here looking for oil. For us to maintain our course on the beeline, we have to leave it, go left over the dune. The end of day 4, and we're going to call this site Camp Annie after Heck and Jackie's eldest daughter.
This is the beeline, camp number 4, now known as Camp Annie.
Quite a complex area as far as the dunes are concerned, and hard to work out what's dune, what's swale, and we're a couple of kilometres east of Annie's camp, and we've come across this road, or track I should call it, running north-south. And as a consequence, we're going to call the crossing of the beeline with this the Bryony Junction.
Crossed an old road, and on the beeline we're setting up a mark here to mark on this morning Bryony's Junction.
This marks the halfway point of the beeline. I'd like to name this spot Point Lenzel, honour of a fellow expeditioner.
The Point Lenzel, I've got a good continuation of nice, beautiful Simpson Desert dunes. This is camp number 5 on the beeline from Old Andado to Beachcombers on the Hay River Crossing Road, and it is Camp Madeline. Happy birthday, darling, I love you. Just come across a very interesting swale here, 5 kilometres east of Colson's track. And Heck's just going for a little exploratory up there to have a look around, and he'll come back and join us on the track in a minute.
We're getting ready to photograph.
Here we are approaching the Colson track, which runs sort of south-south-east and northwest. And as we come onto the Colson track, we could turn right and head off down to the French line. Bye!